Assalamu alaikum. This lecture is about John Milton, the 17th century poet who has contributed greatly in English literature. In this lecture, we are going to discuss his life and work, and this is presented by Shafaqus Sahar. John Milton, who was born on 9th December 1608 and passed away on 8th November 1674, was an English poet and an intellectual as well, who served as a civil servant for the Commonwealth of England under its Council of State. You might have remembered that in our class we keep discussing English history, the history of England, which is mostly under the monarchy or the presence of kings and queens. But this is the time when Milton is writing, then the Commonwealth of England is ruling England. That means that there is no king or queen there because England had changed its style of government after a very violent movement that was run by Oliver Cromwell. So Milton was one of the people who was working in the government in the Council of State. He was a very important person in that era. Later, under Oliver Cromwell, he worked as well. His thoughts and his ideas are not as extreme as that of the people of that time who were Puritans, but still he was a devoted Puritan and Protestant. He wrote at a time of religious flux and political upheaval. That means that when he was writing, politically England was not a stable country. The country was very stable under the rule of Elizabeth I, and Shakespeare wrote in the circumstances that were quite calm and there was no problem in the country. But when Milton was writing, the political situation was constantly changing and he had to tackle all those problems as well. Moreover, there was religious flux, that means that Protestantism had just gained power in England, and because of that, the Roman Catholics were also flustered and they thought that they are going to be persecuted, and to some extent, this thing happened as well. So, there was a clash of religious sects in England. Milton's times are extremely turbulent and it would be obviously frustrating for a poet and a writer. He is best known for his epic poem Paradise Lost, that is written in blank verse and widely considered to be one of the greatest works of literature ever written. So, he is not only an important English poet, but he is a very prominent epic writer as well, and he has written his name in the list in which we see the names of Homer, Virgil, and Dante already presented. These are some works by John Milton. The first one is obviously Paradise Lost. The part 2 of this book would be called Paradise Regained. We will discuss this book later in the same video. One poem is very prominent, Lycidas. John Milton wrote this poem in the memory of his friend who had drowned at a young age. Milton himself was a student when he wrote that poem. But that poem shows that how well read he was, and he has used there already an idea that the church is corrupt and it should be removed as the head of the Christians all over the world. So, Lycidas is not only a personal poem, it has also a political and religious inclination in it. Then there are two very famous poems that are related to the theory of poetry. La Allegro is a poem that shows a person who is a poet and he is believing that if you are a writer, you should be very happy and write in a happy atmosphere. In this way, whatever creation you will do, it would be very good. And negating that very idea is the next poem, Al Penseroso. That poem shows that the writer should not be a very happy person. He should be serious and silent, and he should not be so much close to nature. Rather, he should stay at home, read the old books and classics. these things will improve his art much better. So these apparently quite contradictory poems are an essence of Milton's writing style. The greatest work of John Milton is Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained. These two poems are called epic poems. As everyone knows that epic is a long narrative poem that is about some nations or the doings of heroes, and they have a grand theme. They use a grand wording style and are written mostly in long form. Milton wrote this epic poem because he wanted to create something as powerful in English as he had read in Greek and Roman languages. In Greek, he had read Homer and his books, Odyssey and Iliad, and in Latin literature or Roman literature, there were many, and the Virgil was best of all. After that, there are the books of Dante. So Milton wanted to create something as good in English. Because of his religious inclination, his theme is not based on nationality. Instead, this is a poem written in deep religious vein. The base is the biblical story of God, Adam, Eve, and Satan. He has taken his characters from Bible. In the first book of Bible, we see that God has created the earth, then he creates Adam and Eve, and then there is a clash between God and Satan on the topic of Adam, because of which after some time Adam and Eve have to leave paradise and go to earth, and Satan has become their mortal enemy. So this situation has been dealt with quite genuinely. The characters are extremely believable, and Milton has given personalities to all of them. There are some quotes of Milton that show his bent of mind. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell a hell of heaven. Milton believes that human mind is a very powerful thing and it has its own place. That means it is like a home or a palace or a home of your own. In itself, it can make a heaven of hell. If you are living in heaven and your brain is creating a hell, then you won't be living in heaven actually. In the same way, it can also happen that you are living in hell, but your brain is functioning so positively that it turns the hell into heaven. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. This is a dialogue that is world famous. It is spoken by Satan, who is fallen from the grace of God because he did not bow before Adam. And he says to his followers that I would rather be the king of hell than being the servant in the heaven. And this dialogue is considered one of the best ever by any rebel or a revolutionary or a hero that ever happened to be in the literary world. He who reigns within himself and rules passions, desires, and fears is more than a king. Milton believed that if you are a master of your own, if you can control your passions, your feelings, your desires, your anger, your fear, then you are better than a king, because the greatest warrior is the one who can control himself, not the others. The concept of poetic mirth and poetic melancholy has been discussed in two poems, La Allegro and I Penseroso. In La Allegro, Milton shows a person, a poet, who is a very happy person. That person gets up in the morning and he looks out of his window. He loves whatever he sees, the sky, the height of the sky, the beauty of it, and the sunshine and everything. That poet loves nature. He loves to be happy. So he goes out in the garden and he describes all the scenes that are around him. That poet believes that when a poet is writing, he should collect all the joys of nature with him and then he would start writing. Actually, this idea is very close to the idea of Wordsworth and later Coleridge, and after that, all the romantics. That for the inspiration, a poet must go to the nature, and the nature is a soothing presence, it is a happy presence, it makes one happy, it gives inspiration, and it is like a mother because it gives kindness to all. So the poet in La Allegro goes out and he enjoys the fresh air, the clouds, and the flowers, and all the trees and mountains around him. He loves to see all those things. When he comes back, he is happier than before. So, whatever he writes is also bubbling with joy of life, the celebration of life. Here, we are discussing the idea of poetic mirth, that means poetic happiness. So, the happiness would create inspiration, and the poet will write beautiful things because he is happy. Then there is the second idea that has been discussed in I Penseroso, and this poem is about a poet who believes in poetic melancholy. We see that the poet is sitting in his room, there is darkness in the room, there is very little light from a burning lamp, that is an oil lamp, and the poet is writing something. He cannot see anything outside because it is dark, it is the time of the night. Even at the time of the night, you can enjoy moon and stars and anything if you are into the idea of poetic mirth. But our poet here is I Penseroso, that means he is thinking about sadness and melancholy things. Melancholy is a humor. We have discussed four humors already, and we know that the ancient Greeks believed that there are four types of human beings. One of them is melancholic, and that means that such person would be a pensive and mostly depressed person. So the poet here is not one to go to nature to find happiness there and then reflect that happiness in his work. Whatever he will write would be sad, depressing, and dark too. And sometimes all these things would not be there, only seriousness of the purpose would be there. So the poet is sitting there and he is writing, and whatever he is talking about is that life is a sad thing, and seriousness is required to become a poet. One should be a poet, and the main method of becoming one is that one should read the works of classics and classical writers and be inspired by them. So instead of nature, as a contrast, here the poet likes darkness. He doesn't like the beauty of nature much. He doesn't take it as inspiration, and he would believe that inspiration comes from the works of the old masters only. It does not come from the beauty of nature. In this way, these two poems make a contrast. Milton believed more in poetic melancholy. Still, he wrote a poem about poetic mirth as well. So, it shows two sides of his character. Looks like in his young age he believed more in poetic mirth, but in his older age he believed more in the melancholy style of writing. The reason could be that Milton became blind in the last 10 years of his life, and that was the peak of his career as a poet. He retired from the government service then, and he was living in the house. He could not see, obviously, any natural object and the beauty of nature. It was depressing. His wife was dead. He was living with his daughters, and daughters were not very particular about the care they gave him, and they had to actually write whatever he was dictating to them, and this actually felt quite burdensome to the young girls. They did not want to sit with the father for so long and write his writings, and that is why there was a depression in the house. Obviously, that would be something affecting Milton's mental health and as well his spirits, and there was more of melancholy in that house than mirth. That is why the last days of Milton, when he is writing Paradise Lost, would be spent in sadness, in the poetic melancholy. But the results of that melancholy are quite stunning because he has written extraordinary works in that vein. Thanks for watching. Hope the lecture helps you in understanding Milton and later on in your examination.